Good evening, good afternoon, wherever you're watching us from. My name is Derek Yale, and I'm here with a fresh season, another season of the Hard Zone, your favorite talk show. On this Hard Zone, we don't. There's no gimmick, no fluff, just real talk. And we're very happy to bring you another fresh episode in a new season of the Hard Zone. And I can promise you, we have listened to your concerns. We have listened to some of the feedbacks you gave us from the previous season, and we have taken all of that into consideration and prepared a very beautiful program for all of you. And we will live up to your commitment as well. And we'd like to say thank you so much for continuing to support us. And we also urge you to continue to do so by following us on Facebook and on YouTube. That is the Liberia Radio and Television Network. Again, this is the Hard Zone with another season, another episode. At this point, I would like to welcome my panelists to Season 2, Episode 1 of the Hard Zone. We have with us the Lord Mayor of Bentor, Bobby Mitchell Crawford, Mr. Jai Winking Weah, and the one and only Blow J. Choppy Charlie. Guys, let me begin with you and say, Bobby Mitchell Crawford, welcome to Season 2, Episode 1 of the Hard Zone.
Wow, I can't believe we're in Season 2 already. Wow. Thank you, Derek. I'm excited to be here. It's a brand new show, a brand new day. Jawinkin, we are good to see you. Blow J, Choppy Charlie, my brother from day one, good to see you. I'm excited to be here.
Thank you very much. Let's go to you, Mr. Jai Winking. We are welcome to another episode and another season of the Hard Zone.
Wow, thank you for this second opportunity. Let me say, Choppy Charlie, the Lord Mayor, nice to be with you guys all the time with your thought process provoking.
Thank you, and Blue J. Choppy Charlie, the one and only.
Yes. Refreshing to be back here, and look forward to having a very more exciting second season. Good to see all the folks, Jawiken, Bobby, and to the moderator himself, Derek.
Thank you guys, and thank you. And to those of you watching, you know the drill. Continue to make your impact, continue to contribute to the program by leaving your comments and your concerns in the comment sections, and continue to share the program. Share the program. That is very important because you watching it, someone that you know will need to watch it as well. So thank you very much. And guys, it has been a very, very interesting times. We have put a lot of work into Season 2. So don't let me say much. Just continue to support us, and we will bring you a lot of goodies on this Season 2 of the Hard Zone. Let's begin with things happening in the diaspora. We would like to draw our attention to the midterm elections of the United States that were just held, and we'll specifically like to focus on Liberians, people of Liberian origin that were elected into public office. And to begin that, we have Naquita Rex, who was re-elected for second term as Colorado State Representative for District 40. And we also have Wala Blige, was elected for Prince George County Council in the state of Maryland, representing District Number 6. So that is correct. Say that again, Bloje.
I think that's a wealthy county.
Yes, and this is people from Liberia origin making rounds in the United States of America, and that's what we have for you for the current events from the diaspora, specifically the United States of America, and also in Liberia, the U.S. ambassador to Liberia issued warning message to Liberians that are doing business with sanctions government officials. And tonight on the show, we'll be giving you more information on that. We'll be getting our panelist view on that particular subject matter. And also we have Dr. Romeo Horton, inducted as the 13th president of the Continental University in Liberia. And another story we have for you, the political leader of the Alternative National Congress and the collaborating political party, Alexander Benedict Cummings, making rounds. We saw him today in Nema County, sympathizing with the victims of the tragedy that occurred in Nema County. So that's it for Alexander Benedict Cummings. And also the political leader of the Unity Party, Joseph Yuma Boakat, issue a press statement today addressing the current census crisis in Liberia and also the president vacations. So that's what we have for you today on the current events of the Horizon. We would like to, at this point, take a very brief break, and when we come back, we will get into the U.S. ambassador issuing warning to Liberia doing business with those that are on sanction list. My name is Derek Yale, and when we come back, we'll bring you more Horizon. Welcome back, wherever you're watching us from. My name is Derek Yale, and we are bringing you another episode of The Horizon. And as we promised, when we come back, we will talk more about the U.S. ambassador issuing warning to those doing business with the sanctions government officials. And let me welcome my panelists back so I can read a statement directly from the ambassador, and I will go around asking my panelists what that will mean for Liberia as a whole and those specifically dealings with those that are on sanctioned list. Let me welcome back you guys, Bobby Mitchell Crawford, Jai Winkin, Weah, Bloje Choppy Charlie. Let me read a statement from the U.S. ambassador. He said, I think it's important to draw our attention back to the Treasury Department statement in which we discussed in season 1 on this show. Specifically, its notification that persons that engage in certain transactions with these sanctioned individuals may themselves be exposed to sanctions or subject to an enforcement action. Let's begin with you, Bloje Choppy Charlie. What do you make of this statement from the U.S. ambassador?
Well, the statement was given when a visiting State Department official came to Liberia, and the United States ambassador was briefing the press on the visit of the State Department official. And so in that briefing, he thought to remind Liberians about the sanction regime, since she has come from the State Department, and the State Department was also attached to these sanctions actions. So I see it as a normal diplomatic cautionary. Everybody just remind us, and so yeah, that's normal.
Thank you, Mr. Jai Winkin Weah. Let me get a take on the ambassador's statement, issuing warning to those doing business with sanctioned government officials.
Yes, I think it was appropriate because I think for us Liberians, we hardly take things seriously. And something we are missing is that to serve in government is to render service. Those who were sanctioned, I believe that sedition can more qualify Liberians that can do what these people were doing. I don't think it is proper for us to really embrace people who were hired to render service and at the end use their positions for their own betterment instead of the country. We need to understand that we need people that will serve the Liberian people and the country, not for themselves. Especially when you see a lot of people suffering in Liberia, few people who were hired by Liberian people through their voting power to serve them, use that power to misuse the resources of the country. So I think all Liberians should take that seriously, even though who are sanctioned should recognize that the country is for all Liberians. They should recognize that their actions should not be the reason for more Liberians to suffer.
Thank you, Mr. Jai Winkin. Let's go to you, Bobby Mitchell Crawford. Give us your take on the ambassador's statement.
Thank you, Derek. Bloje, there's nothing normal about the American ambassador, just reinforcing the Treasury Department, stand on the 3 officials of government that was sanctioned, and to reinforce that at a meeting, underscores the importance of it. And look, let me tell you something. There's nothing that goes on in Liberia that the United States government is not aware of. Since the sanction McGill and others, right? You see McGill going different districts, receiving endorsement. That's just one part of it. And the United States government has reason to believe that some officials in Weah government is still dealing with McGill. So to see the ambassador, the Cardiac reminding people that the thing is not for joke. We're not joking. And you're still doing bike deal business with this guy. Let me remind you people, it is serious, and whoever is caught doing that will bear the full weight of the United States law as regard to sanction. And this is something that the Weah government should take very serious. And not just the Weah government, whosoever is doing business with McGill and the other people. They kept Hassan of the world. They said government official and ordinary people. So if you have dealing with McGill or you have dealing with CFOS or whatever person, you're coming here to the United States may be jeopardized rather. So we have to really take this thing serious. An ambassador will not just make an impromptu statement. You say it's normal, diplomatic, whatever utterance. They just want to underscore the importance of it. That this sanction, we are dead serious about it. And guess what? According to him in our press statement, another round of sanction will drop in the middle of December, just before Christmas. But the next sanction that will drop has implication on the 2023 election. I will discuss that later. So this is not something, if I were you, a stooge of the government, you would try to whisper to some of your cohorts to say, you know what, gentlemen, let's take the thing serious. It's nothing for to take lightly.
Thank you. And just to piggyback on what Bobby Mitchell Crawford was saying on the seriousness of this statement. Let's talk about how seriously the president of Liberia should take that statement, because as we all know, when the list of sanctions government officials came out, the president's action was suspension, and today the ambassador is making a reminder with very strong words saying that there will be enforcement actions. Mr. Jawinkin Weah, talk to our audience. How seriously should the president take this statement, and what should be his next course of action? Mr. Jawinkin Weah.
Okay, thank you very much. As I said, like Mangil, I think he's going around running for an elected position to circumvent the sanctions. If you were to be elected as a senator, you'll still be working in the government of Liberia. That means he's still having influence with president.
I'm sorry, but how does he get the money to fund his campaign?
Well,
go ahead.
Well, basically, this is the point. He still has friends with in a Weah government. Perhaps the president is. I'm not sure. Perhaps the president is supporting him still because they are friends. And the other thing is that he invested money. He has money from the job he was doing before. But the point is that to use the sanction to circumvent the sanction of the American government to go wrong for a position to serve in the Liberian government, I don't think it's fair for the Liberian people. The Liberian people are those that are being affected by their actions. So I will repeat that again. It's a circumventing of the sanction to say, okay, well, I'm not appointed by the president, but I want for the Liberian people to elect me. So if they really love Liberia, they can do something better. Let them leave the Liberian people and there are other people that are qualified that can be representative or senator or serving a Weah government.
Mr. Weah, before I leave you, what advice will you give the president? What would you tell him right now, given that this sanction happened and then the ambassador is making this strong reminder? If you were to advise the president, what advice would you give him as to his course of action?
I think he should take it seriously, even though he has those guys as friends. But the country is a country of Liberian people. It is not a friendship club. So he should really warn their say talks to them. So he should recognize that the country is not a friendship club. So he should tell to all his friends to back off from the Liberian government.
Thank you. Let's go to you, Lord Choppy Charlie. How seriously should the president take this reminder from the ambassador, and what advice would you personally give to President Weah?
I think I'm listening to some kind of misunderstanding here, because the presumption I'm hearing here is suggesting that America is a dictatorial country. America does not believe in the rule of law. America does not respect human rights, fundamental human rights. And so these kind of characterization of the U.S. ambassador's statement suggests that an individual will live in a society and an individual will have no interaction with other members of that society or even his own government. So how do he have access to social services from the government and other needs that any human being ought to live and survive? That's not the intent of these sanctions, and the American ambassador never construed that to be that way. In fact, the language used by the ambassador was significant, dealing with, go back and look at the terminology, significant. What is significant? The ambassador will decide that, but it doesn't mean that anybody cannot interface with the government. If I'm a citizen in the country and Mr. McGee is a citizen, and even he has to do basic things, he has to procure his own papers to go from one point to another point on a normal business, he has to interact with the government. I don't think the U.S. government is saying that. So we have to be able to set aside these fundamental issues from the general or purpose of these sanctions. And the U.S. ambassador was referencing the main issues that the sanction was or level for, the reason for that sanction in terms of business engagement, in terms of governance, corruption, and other issues. We don't know the facts yet, but the fact that the people were even or removed by the president shows that the president took it serious. If it wasn't serious, the president wouldn't have removed those people. So I don't think it's a question of advising the president to be serious. I mean, there's nothing else more than removing somebody to suggest that sanction is being taken serious. And so that reminder is appropriate in keeping with the normal function of the mission of the ambassador in Liberia, especially so when you had a guest from the United States State Department visiting Liberia and trying to understand the situation in Liberia. He had to brief that visitor and remind Liberians.
Thank you, Lily Chubby Chada. But let me stay on you for a couple of seconds. Now, when you spoke of the definition of the significant dealings, I think in his press statement, the ambassador gave us a context of what he could mean when he said, we don't want them, the sanctioned officials in America, spending stolen money. He made that statement. I think we can agree that he's speaking of America, but he also do not want them spending stolen money in Liberia as well. Now, with that in context, let me ask you a question. Let me ask you this question again. How seriously will you want President Weah to take this warning, this reminder from the ambassador? Give us direct or specifics as to what course of action he should take with regards to these sanctioned officials. Lord Choppy Charlie.
But I think you said it. The ambassador is talking about corrupt money. So that's why I said earlier we have to make that distinction. If Mr. McGill, as a citizen in the country, you can't say he cannot interact with his neighbor. He cannot go to his neighborhood and eat.
No. Let me. They say not him interacting with them, but them doing business with him.
But that's what I'm saying. So the distinction is very clear. The distinctions are very clear, and it is just that distinction that the ambassador is referencing. And again, I'm saying there's no advance there for the president because the president honors to the seriousness. That's why he dismissed those people. So
I'm sorry. Let me come to you, Bobby Mitchell Crawford.
Yes,
sir. Lord just stated that there is absolutely no advice for the president. Those are your words. Address that, and also, what advice will you give the president if you were to advise him?
Well, here's the thing with our president. We are just, looking at him from a distance, right? He's a transactional person. His interpersonal relation skill is transactional. What do I mean by this? You will advise George Weah, and what you're telling him, he will absorb it. He said, this is true. someone else come and whisper in your ear, say, oh, this is true. Yeah, oh, this thing is true. And that's how he conducts himself. It shows in his leadership. You know, people say the opposition, all they do is to oppose, they criticize. I remember when we had a serious financial crisis there prior to the Ebola, Cummings, Mr. Alexander Benedict Cummings, advanced a series of economic proposals, and he was willing to meet with George Weah to discuss it. George Weah said, yes, I received it in good faith, but let me pivot back from that. There's no advice you can get that man that he would take seriously. You know, just a few hours ago, just before we came on the air, some supporters of the Congress for Democratic Change partisan are saying that they want to demonstrate against the United States government. Let me tell you something. Foreign policy 101. International relation is conducted in an arena where there's no legislative power to regulate the affair of states. So the bigger countries, whatever they do, their disposition of foreign policy may be draconian in nature, may look dictatorial in nature, but that's the nature of the beast. Liberia's finances and monetary system is tied to the Federal Reserve in the United States. So America dictates the pace of it. So if three government officials has been sanctioned, and they're telling you, maybe they're seeing something that you and I don't see. The Menesky that is now something to play with. There are 3 people who were sanctioned. They didn't talk about the other 2. They were quiet like mass. You can't hear nothing about Bill Tawale. You can't hear nothing about CFOS because they know. Mageda is the one going all over driving around people petitioning him. He's trying to put the election commission in a place where they will be compromised because eventually he might run as an independent. And that in itself would taint the election commission. So those are things that, if George Weah or anybody will say, my man, slow the thing down. They think you come down here, you're going all around driving different districts and different places here. Where you getting the gas money from? On all the forced oil account. Did you see the convoy that went to Kakata? 16 cars. So that people see those things. So, it's oxymoron that we have to even be discussing this. They say the child like in here will learn.
Let's go to you, Mr. Jai Winkin. I see that you were going to have to contribute.
Right. I wanted to say something about what Blue just said about the United States government being a dictatorial regime. Well, the thing is, he knows very well that the United States of America does not have a permanent friends. They have interest. All their international something, their foreign policy is based on interest, not on permanent friends. For Liberia specifically, the United States government can help a country based on what the country does for itself first. So if we have corrupt people in our country, for every dime that goes, they put it in their pocket. If sanction imposed a development project that stalled, it is majority of the people that are suffering. Not those who are sanctioned. I know they get enough money, not those who are in power. The 1% of people in power, they are benefiting whether the country is sanctioned or not. So if they truly love this country, if they are sanctioned, they should stay away. Like if Mange become a senator, well, he knows very well the president, Weah cannot fire him, but he can use that office to still engage in the corruption. You and myself know that the other members are not going to impeach you or are not going to do anything about it. And that's what I said. What he's doing is intended to circumvent the sanction so that you get empowered again.
Thank you. Before I close up on this topic, let me just ask you guys my final question on this subject matter. Will this statement have an effect on the elections in 2023? Will these sanctioned individuals aligning with political party be defined as them doing business with that political party or with that institution or vice versa? Take for instance when Prince Johnson, whose name was mentioned in the...
Oh man, you just stole my thunder. That's okay.
And whose name was mentioned in the press statement, will he aligning with a political leader or political institution? Would that be considered him doing business with said individual or institution. Let me start with you, Brother Major Crawford.
Absolutely. I was just about to discuss that. Absolutely. In fact, it was in 2021 when Prince Johnson was sanctioned by the same Treasury Department for what we call here, I think it was said either during Trump's time, when we heard, was it pro quo or whatever they call it. There you go. I don't know how to discuss the word. Prince Johnson is known in Liberian political circle to be a kingsmaker, right? He had thrown his weight behind the CDC government, and he said he would be supporting George Weah. This is something he had done effectively. He has leverage on the government. There are instances where Prince Johnson, right after CDC won, he gave names. There are people, Prince Johnson's stooges that are working in the CDC government, names that Prince Johnson forwarded to George Weah. I say, put the people in the government and I'll deliver Nimba to you. Nimba is the second highest vote getting county in the Republic of Liberia. If you want to win the presidency of Liberia, you need the support of Nibanians. And George Weah, who's supporting CDC? Prince Johnson. That would be a problem. You just ran directly into the crosshead of America's, the problem America has with regards to doing business with sanctioned official. Prince Johnson is a classic example, Exhibit A. So it will have serious implication for the 2023 election. Now, when it drop, like I said earlier, another list going to drop in December. So who knows who on that list? That are part and parcel of making sure George will become president in 2023. So there are so many implications. We will wait to see how that plays out.
Thank you. Let me go to you, Mr. Jarwinkin Weah, and then I would like to close out with you, Lord J. Choppy Charlie. Does this statement, this warning from the ambassador, has an effect on the election next year? And does those sanctioned officials endorsing a political leader or political institution mean that they are, in terms, having dealings with them?
Well, it depends how one looks at it. I think the ambassador really was speaking in terms of business, or awarding contracts. So I would say yes, because let's say if Maggie were to be elected as senator, Maggie will engage into, aside from engaging or talking with other political parties right now, but if you're making senator, he will get a major role to play in terms of signing your contracts, in terms of foreign policy, in terms of so many things. So it depends on which committee you'll be serving if you were to win. So that is, it has a serious implication. It's very important for people to recognize that.
Thank you, Mr. Jarwinkin. We have Lord Choppy Charlie close out with this for us. Does the statement from the ambassador, does it have an effect on the elections? And will those sanctioned official endorsement of a political leader or institution means that you're doing business with said institution or political leader? Lord Choppy Charlie.
I think it can only have effect if there are violations of the sanction regime. But to constitute violations, one have to understand, and that's why Jarwinkin talks about America have interest, permanent interest, not permanent friends. America's permanent interest is promotion of democracy, promotion of the rule of law, promotion of respect for human dignity, and all of the other good things for nation building. So actions on anybody in any society has to be premised on the rule of law. It's not, America is not advocating for somebody's rights to be violated. So in order for people to lose their citizenship rights in a country, it has to undergo a due process. And America is not going to oppose such a thing. If the opposition is going to depend on America to bring more sanctions as a means to win elections, then that's a myth. And so I would say so. And another point, Bobby makes, which is very erroneous and false, is that CDC threatening to demonstrate against the U.S. ambassador. We understand the old tricks.
I stand to be corrected.
Yeah, we understand the old tricks in
Yeah.
Liberian politics, where opposition members try to demonize the government, their opponent, and they use different means and pretending that they are a member of the other party and make crazy statement to impugn negative characterization. The CDC issued a statement on the signature of the chairman, said Mobile Modu, that condemns such statement against the United States or the United States ambassador. The government issued a statement condemning those actions, those statements. So the CDC would never again engage in such actions because we understand, or the CDC understand the role America has played in transforming Liberia and making Liberia to be where it is today. And then final point I wanted to make in passing about the whole NEMA issue with Prince Johnson. It continues to be a myth for anyone to believe that Prince Johnson has been a kingmaker in Liberian politics. There is no record data to show that Prince Johnson is a decider of elections in Liberia. Nima County has never decided presidency in Liberia. There's no record. All elections results. Nima County have always had a split vote. In 2017 elections, 125,000 people voted for Prince Johnson in Nima County. You have more than 125,000 Nima voting against him. He did not win the whole Nima County vote.
That's a lie.
So Nima
right here.
doesn't have the full backing of Nima County. He's always had a split vote, and Nima is not a decider of elections in Liberia.
Thank you, Blue J. Choppy Charlie. And if you're watching us, continue to make your contribution in the comment section. Tell us, what do you think? Go. I will give you 30 seconds. Fact check only. Fact check only.
Yeah, in 2017, after Prince Johnson lost the election, the second round, he came in, he won Nima by over 50%. The vote margin was over 160,000. The records are there.
Is it what? What Prince Johnson vote in the first round?
Yeah, I will allow you guys to finish this off in the back, okay? But guys, if you're watching us, listen.
Number in elections.
In essence, in short,
Bobby, we have to take a break. Guys, continue to follow the network. My name is Derek Yale, and again, this is the Hard Zone. There's no gimmick, no fluff. There's real talk. When we come back, we will be talking about the census fiasco. We will see you after the break.
Hey there. Many Liberians are members of social clubs, 501c NGOs, and school alumni. Many Liberians are trying to open their own 501c NGOs, home care agencies, and social clubs. Does your organization have a professional website? Does your web platform have the right wording and content to attract grants? Hopefully you're not running your organization only through social media. There's a more professional route. You need an online space where you can craft a positive message about your organization, making your home health agency more credible, which will increase your chances to receive grants. We'll build you a responsive platform for 501c organizations, healthcare agencies, and other types of organizations. We'll provide you with full website maintenance, membership sign-in, private charts, Facebook and WhatsApp integration, live video feed for all your meetings and special occasions, a dashboard for members to see all the activities, and email and text auto reminders for meetings. We'll build with donors and 501cs in mind, and will help you solicit grants and automatic membership due collections. Building you this amazing platform will only be a membership fee of $19 a month. Call or email us now. Let's upgrade your website. Home health agencies and small businesses, you owe it to your company to project the best image possible, and we can make it happen. Visit www.tiamit.com or call 215-966-8679. Ask for Tommy.
Welcome back. You're watching the Hard Zone on the Liberia Radio and Television Network. My name is Derek, and tonight we are talking about several issues in the diaspora and in Liberia as well. And for this segment, we would like to focus our attention on the census fiasco, or the rigmarole involving the census. And before I do that, let me put my panelists back on the screen, and then we can get into the census issue. Guys, as you know, the president of Liberia, His Excellency George Weah, declared November 11th as National Census Day. And on that day, all government institutions, and he asked everyone to stay home to begin day one of the census, or in other words, for Liberians to give legis the opportunity to be able to count over 50% of the population. Well, unfortunately, that did not happen, and today is day six ever since the proclamation, and no one has reported to be enumerated. And in the wake of all of that, the president, via the Facebook page of the executive mansion, fired two top government officials from Legis. That's just a brief summary of the census fiasco. But let me get to you guys, the census issues. Let's start with you, Mr. Weah. Let's begin this conversation by talking about how important the census is. We know it should have been done in 2018. This is 5 years later. It's still failing to this day. But let's focus on how important the census is for a democratic nation like Liberia. Mr. Weah.
Okay, thank you very much. That reminds me the last time when we talked to Nimlen Batikwa, Senator Nimlen Batikwa from Grand Creek County. The issue was raised, and he said he was one of those who pushed the census to be held at this time because the country didn't have money. And even though the opposition had issue with that because of the weather, but they came to recognize that if they were to postpone it, then there were going to be no money. So that means that all the resources were already provided through the Ghanaian government, according to Nimlen Batikwa, or the international community. So I don't know why President Weah declared a holiday and people in Liberia who are working for Legis are looking for money, no pay. What was the arrangement made? Is the question we all need to ask. That goes to the point where Liberians are always relying on other people to do for them. Liberia is an independent country, first independent country in Africa for that matter. And yet, this government is incapable to organize the census for which they declare a holiday. So that is a poll showing it's not about argument. It is not about being a sedition or being in the opposition. For all those who love Liberia, they should see this that it's very terrible for Liberia. This shows that our government is really dysfunctional. They need to do better.
Thank you. Before I go to you, Bloody Choppy Charlie, let me just stress on two things Mr. Weah said. And this should be a non-political topic because it affects all of us as Liberians. So I will hope that we will discuss this in that vein, taking that into consideration. But I understand that it is very difficult to separate politics from the census issue, but we should try our hardest to talk about it in that vein. Let me come to you, Bloody Choppy Charlie. The census was not conducted on the day the president was not. Well, the process wasn't began on the day the president declared as day one, and to this day, no one has been counted. First of all, the question to Mr. Weah and to you too: how important is this census to Liberia? You're muted, Bloody Choppy Charlie.
I think it's a very good topic, but allow us to begin from the proper place of governance, which is the Constitution of Liberia, and what the Constitution says about census and how we should do census. The Constitution of Liberia in Article 39, and I'm going to read that. It says the legislature shall cause a census of the republic to be undertaken every 10 years. The legislature shall cause a census of the republic to be undertaken every 10 years. They didn't say the president. They didn't say the executive branch. They said the legislature. So let's settle on that first. The burden for conducting census comes from the legislature. It's supposed to cause that to happen. So before you cause something to happen, you must put in all the mechanisms. You must ensure that all the mechanisms are properly done. And as we said, there should be a non-political issue.
You just make it political.
Let's protect Lord
The
Trumpy Charlie. Let's protect him.
The legislature, we're reading the law. That's what the law says.
but they
So
can't OJ.
Mr. John Winkin, we are. Let's protect Lord J. Let's give
that's
him
what
his
the
time
law.
to talk. Go ahead, Lord J.
So, we in fact, one of the legislators was here. He also said it. It was a legislator who said it was a legislator recently who said they did in the time for conducting census. Legislator, we saw it. It was live. They called the legis for a hearing. They talked with other agencies, other partners were there. The United Nations or Population Agency member was at the legislature. They conducted all the hearing. After all the hearing, they decided to hold this census at a particular time. The president was only executing the order from the legislature. So if we want to blame somebody for the failure of census, we need to put the blame at the proper place. The national legislature, they are responsible. And we have to, always, in Liberia, and this is why we keep blaming one person for the country problem. We have to get away from the idea because of political reason. We want to always blame an individual. When the law is very clear, the country is not just governed by one person. The Constitution provides for 3 branches of government, equal, separate, to govern the country. The 3 branches have to function equally. So,
I will give you another 30 seconds to ask you the initial question I asked you. To answer the initial question I asked you, I'm sorry. How important is the census to Liberia?
The census is very critical and necessary because the census will tell us not just about the population in the country, but it will tell where the population are living, and will also tell the characteristics of the population, and will define for us where to build schools, where to build hospitals, where to build, where to do many things. So it's very critical for nation building. We cannot do real development if we don't have a population census to know who live in the country, where these people are living, and what are the challenges they are facing in terms of the social status, poverty level, the economic level, all kinds of different things. So the census is not just about counting people.
Thank you very much, Lord Choppy Charlie. I will come back to you on some of the things you said. But before I come to you, Bobby Mitchell Crawford, let me urge you guys watching us to share the program and to make sure you continue to follow the Liberia Radio and Television Network. We are discussing the census fiasco. Mr. John Winkin, I will come to you after I come back from Bobby Mitchell Crawford. Talk to us. I'm pretty sure you want to respond to Lord Choppy Charlie. But tell us, how important is this census to our nation? And then you can take a stab at what Blood just said.
There's a reason why, I'm sitting here still trying to process some of the things Blood just say on the show here, And it's one thing to be an apologist or to be a supporter for somebody because of your political leaning. That's okay. Dissent, we all don't have to have the same political orientation, but at the very basic, there are just certain things, like you said earlier, it's not supposed to be political. I remember in February of this year, Mr. Cummings held a press conference at his single office, calling on George Weah. Maybe he has some other ulterior motive, but he emphasized the importance of the census, and he said he will avail himself, he will make himself available to make sure that they do the census. And you are calling on his supporters to do the same. And here we are. Let me tell you something, Blodgett. You said it earlier. There are 3 branches of government, right? We have a unitary state, but we have, a democratic form of government. The executive, the legislature, they make the law. The judiciary interprets the law, right? The executive enforces the law. Yeah, you are right. The 1986 Constitution of Liberia says the legislature shall cause a census to happen. It don't literally mean they don't want to do the census. They defer that to the executive branch. It is a law. Executive branch will appropriate the funding. Just what they do here. They say Congress shall declare war. But it is the executive branch that enforces, that go about conducting war, foreign policy. The same can be said about the census, whatever law that is interpreted over there.
30 seconds, Bobby. Go ahead. You got 30 seconds. Go ahead.
The responsibility was with the president. And his student, here's the thing, there's no substitute for knowledge. There's no substitute. That ledge is supposed to be occupied by statisticians, IT professionals, but instead we have political stooges. If you fail at something, admit your mistake. Don't come back here and do money quarterbacking and try to blame everybody else but the president. This is wrong. It is an insult to the Liberian people. Every day we sit there backing President George Weah whenever he fumbles the ball, and we come and make excuses for him. It's an insult.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
Reset button and move on. Don't come tell me that legislature supposed to do censor. It's ludicrous. So even suggest that in the first place. Seriously.
Let's move on to you, Mr. Jah Winkin Weah. I see you've been signaling to come in. Go ahead.
Right. I think I started by making reference to Nimne Batikwa concerning the census. So Blue Jay understands that our legislature play their role. They pass the law. They provide the resources. It was not legislature that declared the holiday for the registration or to begin that. It was the enforcement mechanism that we has as a head of the executive branch of government. So the legislature will not be the one to hire people. It is the executive branch of government. So it's about enforcement. You said it right. Our lawmakers play their role. They passed the law. They provided resources. The implementation was the executive branch of government, of which President Weah is the head.
Who appointed official alleges?
That's what I'm saying.
The legislature?
Which is the head. And that was why he declared that day as a holiday to start with. So it will be good for all of us as Liberians to recognize that that particular branch of government has failed the Liberian people, of which President Weah is the head. I wanted to bring, so there is no excuse in this particular case, because our lawmaker will not go appoint people. They will not go enforce or implement the censor. It will be the executive branch of government. So there is no excuse for that.
Thank you very much, Mr. Jah Winkin Weah. And Bloody, let me come back to you. But before I do, let me highlight some of the things you said. We should automatically exclude the presidency from this. We shouldn't throw the blame at the president. We should throw it at the legislature.
I think we should exclude the president.
Okay, all right. You can correct me. You say we should throw the legislatures primarily is to be blamed for this. But let me
conducting censor.
Let me remind you, a few days after the president proclamation, the Minister of Finance, Samuel Toy, appeared on several media institutions, giving Liberians the assurance that the legislatures had done what they were supposed to do for the census, and everything were in place for the census to be conducted. Unfortunately, that did not happen. I want you to talk to the Liberian people about that. The Minister of Finance, who has, or by some means become the spokesperson for the government, said that everything was in place, but the census still did not happen. Tell us how we should put this back on the legislature.
Yeah, the legislature, I did not listen to Mr. Tue, but what I know was that the legislature had just had a hearing with the member of Atleges, and the public records are available, where even some member of Atleges advised the legislature that it was not possible to conduct these census, but the legislature went ahead and ordered the census must be conducted.
You said, let me hold you there. You said who advised the legislatures?
Some member of the legislature. I mean, not a legislature, alleged said that at the hearing at the national legislature, they advised that the census should be postponed. The legislature insisted that the census must proceed in order so that the census must continue. So the president was only acting based on the mandate from the legislature. So I'm not saying the president don't have some responsibility, but I'm saying that the idea in Liberia that we keep blaming the wrong people sometimes is a governance problem. The legislature is squarely responsible to make the census happen.
Okay,
Before you announce the census,
let me
put
put,
in all the bricks.
This guy.
let me put it this way. I will come to you, and Bobby Mitchell Crawford. You rightly stated the Constitution for us. You read it. You said the legislature is responsible to cause census to happen.
Yes.
The legislators had done their portion of the job. They gave the green light. Your minister attested to that. He said everything was there.
Chairman.
I'm sorry?
The minister of
going to go as chairman of the the census board.
So if the legislator did not call
Are you even
census,
doing your due diligence, Blowjay?
if the legislator did not cause census to happen, on what information did the president base his proclamation?
The president basically because the order from the legislature. I mean, let's look at legislature, for example, the technical arm that is responsible to conduct these census. What are we seeing at legis? The person at legis who is responsible, they have a census team at legis. The statistician at legis who is responsible to conduct the census. These are the technicians. If the technician goes to the legislature call a hearing, and the technician who are responsible tell the legislature that based on the lack of resources and other challenges we have, we don't find it appropriate to conduct this census. And the legislature said, no, you have to use whatever minimum resources you have. Giving me an order to do something doesn't mean that I have the right resources.
Can you back that conversation? I'm gonna come back to you. Let me go to you, Bobby Mitchell Crawford. Talk to us.
The head of legis, the guy that we are just dismissed. You know the degree he got in from the University of Liberia, accounting. That's the main degree.
And he's not responsible for the conduct of the census.
The so-called hearing that you talk about. Listen now, we sing together. We don't talk together, Blowjay. And it's a travesty that you can come on this show and you saw the intelligence of the Liberian people. But I'll get to that another time. Let me tell you something. The hearing that the guy that is doing the Ransom Spoon TV, he's actually a statistician. He and some other people went to that hearing at the Capitol building to tell the lawmakers some of the challenges they were faced with. Prominent among them being the lack of equipment. And Blowjay point, he's right. They cited those challenges that they had. But then guess what? The finance minister, as usual, came back. He said, you shouldn't listen to the people. All of those challenges have been addressed. The money is there. These are the things that we have in place. Mr. President, go ahead. The date that you said, people will stay home, will do the counting. He even went on Spoon TV. He reiterated that.
And OKFM.
Excuse me. He reiterated that. In Liberia, they say when the boss mentor, who else would talk? And then we saw the fiasco. All wasn't right. The same sentiment that the enumerator expressed at that hearing manifested in public.
But Bobby, making my point. The technician went to the legislator and told the legislator the problem.
Yeah, but the legislator
did not listen to them.
Listen to them, but then twice you don't listen to them because I'm the one who sit as chairman.
Mr. John Wicken.
Yeah, I think I need to clarify.
Let's go to you, Mr. John Wicken.
I think I need to clarify this. If all of you remember Nima Batikwe, when the issue was brought up, they initially opposed it because of time limit. They said it was not feasible. But then the international community that provided the resources told the Liberian government that if they were to miss this through the Ghanaian government, they weren't going to provide any money. And the country has no money. So the resources that the international community is providing through the Ghanaian government is what is supposed to be used for the particular census. So the Liberian government was forced to accept the timeline because the Ghanaian government they were going to pull out if they were to postpone or extend this census. They looked at the whole thing before they accepted that. Yes, that's what Nina Badikwa said. But
he said it, but there's no record of that fact. The Ghanaian government did not say that. So that's why I said blame the legislature.
So you see, the problem is that the Ghanaian government actually said that.
And
There's no record for the Ghanaian government
So you
saying such a
cannot
thing.
challenge somebody essential based on
The
your
Ghana government did not even give money. The Ghana government only gave
they not give money to the international community for some reason.
No. The Ghana government,
Before
Ghana
you go
government
on,
gave tablets, computers that they were using where Ghana just had their census some time ago. So those tablets, after a certain year, they are outdated. That's what they gave to Liberia. So the information, that's why I say we have to bring the appropriate people. The appropriate people is the legislature. They fail to do that, and we gotta stop blaming other people when other people fail to do the responsibility.
on that note,
to do their work.
let's bring all the guys. If you're watching the Liberian Television Network, this is the Hard Zoom. My name is Derek Galley. Let me take this time to introduce another one of our panelists, Bishop Hagan. We are talking about the census fiasco. But let me say welcome to episode 1 of season 2 of the Hard Zoom.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
All right, I'll come back to you, Bishop. Let's go to Bobby. No, not Bobby, but Blue J Choppy Charlie. You're telling the Liberian people to net in Hard Zoom audience that we should blame the legislature. Tell us why. The legislators that are supposed to cause the census to happen. Tell us why we should blame the legislature.
Number one, the legislator is responsible to provide the funding for government activity. Number two, the legislator, before they provide the funding, they have to make sure that everything are in place. They should announce a date and time for census. Before you do that, before you even give the men the money, you have to be able to review the program to determine whether the program is feasible, whether it will happen on a time the person telling you or not. They went through this process, the technician, and Bobby is trying to name somebody. There's a specific person, the technician at the legislatures who are responsible to conduct. They have a special technical team for the census, not just the manager or the administrator who is the head of legislature. That person is just the head of legislature, but they're not the manager of the census. The technical team went to the legislature and told them that we are not prepared because we did not get the resources necessary to do this job. The legislature ignored those people and said, go ahead and do this work and order the president to do the job. So obviously the executive will be unable to perform the job because the executive did not get the appropriate tools and the funding necessary to carry on the tax.
Before I go to Bishop Hagan, let me provide this clarity. I don't know what conversation you're making reference to, but when the deputy director from Legis appeared on the media to talk about that particular conversation, he said when they revealed the plan for the census to the legislature, every other person from Legis said the census was fine to go on. He was the only person that went against that idea. And one of the lawmakers said it's just him. And because of that, they gave the approval for the census to go on. I don't know if that's a conversation you are referring to, but that was the word from the deputy director. I will come back to you. Let me give you 30 seconds. Let me give you 30 seconds. Go ahead.
Yeah, I'm saying the legislature have a responsibility to do due diligence. They have to do their due diligence before they appropriate funding. So if you fail to do your if two people came to you and there's a conflict in the information, you must do your own investigation to ensure that the facts are there before you appropriate funding. I
think you're misinterpreting the responsibility of the I think you're misinterpreting the responsibility of the legislature. But let me come to you, Bishop Hagan. I'll come to you, Bobby. Let me get Bishop Hagan input on the census fiasco. Go ahead, Bishop Hagan.
Thank you very much, Bloje. I know you're passionate about Liberia, and you are
about CDC.
Somebody that the diehard supporter of George Weah. Let me tell you.
Facts.
I'm
a voting character around
let's protect the bishop. Bloje, let's talk. Let's get to
I have some family relationship.
Bloje, give me a second. Let's protect the bishop.
Are you listening to me, Bloje?
Let's protect the bishop. Thank you.
No, but we'll have to stop it now because I don't want to do the same thing. Let's forget about the name calling. Bobby keep doing it. He's doing the same thing. Let's
Okay.
stick to forget about the label and name calling, because that's not what the show is about.
Okay, I will not call your name. Thank you
Well
very
taken.
much.
Fair point. Bishop Hagan, let's go.
It is unfortunate. It is very regrettable. I want to use a scripture that says when you have baby, you have children leading you, you will always face disgrace and disappointment. We have immature, childish, incompetent leaders, or leader or president of Liberia. And we've seen that being exhibited in the way they handle important operation of government. The executive is the implementer. I gave an example. You're a builder. You know the cement not there. You know the rock not there. You know the plank not there. But you tell everybody, say, okay, I'm ready to build. I'm going to build a house in 2 days. But you have not received any material. If you make that kind of announcement, if I'm going to borrow the wisdom of whoever is contributing here tonight, then it means that you, the builder, you have no understanding how things are done. You are incompetent. Give up the job and let people who are competent can do the job and deliver the services for the Liberian people. This sense of thing is just the tip of the iceberg to tell you how incompetent the executive is in Liberia. We are so disappointed. They cannot even handle. We have done census before. The roadmap, how the census should be conducted, is already there. We have done census effectively before. Why this time this census is a complete disaster? Because what? You have incompetent people, unpatriotic people, people that have no insight on what to do for Liberia, and it's just causing a lot of embarrassment for us. If they don't know what to do, we have people on the ground that can do that thing in 1 week. They can put things together and it can be done perfectly. They're just embarrassing us, and it's totally unacceptable. For a nation of 175 years, we did census. I was part of the census in 1986. We did census in Liberia. We never even have the technology that we have today, the kind of material we have today, the money that was made available to the government of Liberia. The executive, they are the one to implement. They don't know what to do. They are very corrupt. They ate all the money. And that's one of the reasons why today we are in this mess. Summit 20 is a King Kong of corruption. John Weah, they ate that money. That's it.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
People.
Thank you very much, Bishop Hagan. Let's come to you, Bobby Mitchell Crawford.
Real quickly, Blowjay. The president appoints head of autonomous bureau and agency, cabinet minister, with the advice and consent of the Liberian Senate. They go for confirmation hearing. They gauges the experience and qualification of that person with the hope that they have done their due diligence and put the people in the respective ministry and agency. If they don't function or there's any semblance of dereliction of duty, will you blame the legislature for not doing their job? They have done their job. So it lies with the executive branch to make sure the cabinet minister, head of autonomous bureaus and agencies that have been appointed perform to the maximum capacity so that Liberian people, their return on investment can be favorable. Look, here's the thing though. The fiasco alleges the corruption that has been brought in all over foreign account in other countries, notably the Ivory Coast, is all the doing of Samuel Tuet. This is what happened, just to echo the bishop's statement. This is what happened when you take a professional organization and stack it up with political stooges. The census is supposed to be a clarion call for all Liberians to get involved. I remember during normal days, if I can pay it back a little bit, at that time we're doing population control. They used to have a little jingle on TV. Population growth is everybody problem. You see a total involvement of the Liberian people. But now it is politicized. If somebody mess up, they can't own up to their mistake. I work for a medical device company. And on the symbol we have, and I'll lay real quickly, there's everything else is square, pathetic. And in the middle of that, one of them is crooked. You know why? They are saying in essence, all of the different things, even though we are prompt as human to make mistakes, but there are guardrails in place to at least rectify those mistakes. How can you just continue to be in autopilot? You can't admit your fault. To say I make mistake, I screwed up, let's recalibrate and let's do this thing over. The money is there. It has been provided. Our developmental partners gave certain amount. The census didn't happen. This is day 4 or 5. And here we are on this show. You being an apologist. So if I'm being a little fired up, I'm fired up because of the Liberian people, my dear. I'm fired up because we are the laughing stock of the international community. Census supposed to be conducted in less than 6 days. You know the reason why they give it extra 3 days? It's because of the constraint that we face in developed third world country like Liberia. This is not rocket science.
Thank you very much, Bobby Mitchell Crawford. Guys, let me ask you guys this question on the census issue. We have to fund it. The legislature, we can throw blame all around, has exercised the constitutional right and given the green light for census to be conducted. The funding is there. The legislature have exercised the constitutional duty to give the green light for the census, and thousands of Liberians turn in a number to be trained by the legislature to work as enumerators. And Liberia even obeyed the president and stayed home on November 11 to be counted. Well, unfortunately, that did not happen. The census exercise failed miserably in Liberia, and that is, regardless of how you see it, it is embarrassing for us. It looks bad for Liberia, in Liberia, and in the diaspora. My question to all of you is, why did this happen? Can we blame this on poor leadership, incompetence, or both? Let me start with you, Mr. Jarwinkin Weah.
Well, basically, if you look at it, even those who are having the protests, they are doing that for pay. I guess prior to assigning them, there was promise. So again, those who are the implementers, meaning the executive branch of government, you can't send somebody to Bapulu or all the kind of fireplaces without anything. So what I will say is that it is incompetent, or perhaps the same way of people thinking that, well, I can give them anything they want because they don't have it. They treat the people as though the people are working for them instead of putting Liberian first, that all of them, whether you are president, whether you are head of villages, all of you working for, and those who agree to enumerate, they are all willing to work for the Liberian people. So what I will say is, beyond being corrupt, is unpatriotic as well, because you don't want to put the whole country into what we're going through right now. So I will add what I call unpatriotic for that kind of behavior.
Unpatriotic, poor leadership, incompetence. And if you're watching us, you can also answer this question in the comment section. Did the census fail for poor leadership? And Mr. Jarwinkin, we are just added to it, being unpatriotic or incompetence. Tell us, or is it all three of them? Tell us give us your contribution in the comment section. I'd like to move to you, Bloje Choppy Charlie. The census failed miserably. Poor leadership, incompetence, or unpatriotism.
I want to I think your narration of the census that the legislature gave funding.
No, I did not say the legislators gave funding.
They did a work. The appropriation was done. People were trained. And the census been having problem for several weeks or even months.
Let me hold you there and clarify.
Yeah.
And my statement was strictly out of the Minister of Finance mouth. I said the legislatures exercised the constitutional right by giving the green light for the census to be held. By doing that, it caused the census to happen, and that is according to your Minister of Finance, Samuel Twell. But go ahead.
Okay. So you're going by the Minister of Finance. I'm saying the legislature have a responsibility. That's why they have oversight powers. The census noise is not just today or maybe a few days ago when the Minister of Finance spoke. The question has been on for a while in the country. You would think that a serious legislative branch of the country, where people of good government would have intervened, and somebody said that if you gave your house to somebody to build, And the president does it. If I gave somebody a contract to build my house, and I'm standing there, I'm looking, and the time for me to build that house, the house will be up. I don't see the house. I see other workers and complaining. I see problem. I have a responsibility to go there and ensure that the right thing gets done. If I fail to exercise that power, I'm I'm more responsible because I get a contract that I made to perform the task. This idea that I want to always excuse the legislative of other branches, only blame one person is what have the country dysfunction. That's not a sign of patriotism. This political hack behavior because a desperate attempt for power. Other people only want power, and because they want this power so desperately, they only want to see one person as the evil person in society. Now, I'm not here to defend Mr. President. I'm not here to defend the CDC government, and I'm not even excusing him for this problem. But for anybody to suggest that the president is solely responsible when we have oversight responsibility for the legislature and the Constitution gave them the authority. So what is the function? They will just sit in the country, things will go wrong, and they can't exercise the power, and they can't get involved. What is the role of the judiciary in this process? So because one person cannot govern, that's why we made our governing system this way. And if we continue to always blame one person and imagine that one person is an imperial or person with all of the wisdom in his word, then there should be no check and balance. Then we should not have then let's just create a dictatorship form of government where one person wants to say something, we all follow it. But it is disingenuous for anybody, if we're a reasonable mind, to say the president is solely responsible for what has happened and will leave the legislature flying. He said because the opposition is dominating the legislature and they have failed to exercise the oversight responsibility to make sure that this census was done appropriately based on a constitutional mandate. The fact is the Constitution gave them the power, not the executive branch.
Dr. Chubby Charlie, we can take the entire show of having this civics conversation, but I'd like for you to answer the question. Whether you blame the legislature, the president, or whoever, the census exercise early miserably failed. Do you think it's due to lack of good leadership? Do you think it's due to incompetence or lack of people not being that is due to people not being patriotic? Take a stab at that question.
Well, I mean, there's a lot of names that can be given to it, but I think at this point we want to be more focused on solutions, and I think this census can still proceed if everybody get back on the drawing board and look at the census as a non-political issues that we need to do in order for the country to make progress. I think that is where we need right now.
Thank you, Brother Chubby Charlie. Let's come to you, Bobby Mitchell Crawford. The census exercise failed miserably. What is the reason? Is it due to poor governance or poor leadership? Is it due to those officials being unpatriotic or just mere incompetence?
It is easier to say all of the above. But here's what really is bothering me in the whole exercise, in the whole exchange over here. Besides all of those, caveat and hyperbolic, rule-saving lesson that Bloge is trying to give us here. Missing translation is the president of the Republic of Liberia. Hate him or love him, a good portion of Liberians still love George Weah. And on many occasions, things that had national implication, whether it's the beating of ASU student while demonstrating against the government or some economic meltdown, what the president does, he tape record a speech and then give it for the Liberian port to listen. The whole census thing going on, the house is on fire in Liberia with regards to ledges. The president he traveled. He's watching the World Cup. Why is it so hard for him to make a statement? Hey, my Liberian people, I'm sorry I make you stay home. But let's come together, we'll do the thing again. We'll do it better. What's wrong with that? But the first thing he does, to show his vindictive nature, you fire. You didn't do my job, you fire. You fire everybody. Why can't you talk to the poor marketeers that stay home? As a consequence of them not going to the market, they were somehow impeded. Because in Liberia, you live on less than $1 a day. Poverty is rampant. Can you at least have some humanity in you to be humble enough to speak directly to them from wherever you are abroad? To say, I'm sorry for making you stay home, because he declared that day a national holiday, for crying out loud. The whole fiasco about the legislature, the president, it is the Liberian people that are suffering. Apologize to them for making them to stay home in the first place. But no way, not President Weah. Everything else is somebody's fault, but not him. He's above reproach. And that's the one that is pissing me off tonight.
Thank you, Bobby Mitchell Crawford. Let's come to you, Bishop Hager. The census failed miserably. Is it due to non-patriotic government official? Is it due to incompetence or just poor leadership?
I would say due to massive incompetence on the part of this government. Why do I say so? This is not the first time that Liberia had census. By virtue of the law, we have every 10 years, it is a law. And the responsibility of every responsible government is to make sure that the laws of the nations are being implemented. George, we have been in power 5 years, 6 years, we're going to election right now. Everything that's supposed to be done, they knew about it. There was a transition, there was a period where the okra, the roadmap, okay, this year is census, every 10 years by law. You start making preparation, making sure that the relevant institution that equip people are recruited for the census. They do not take national responsibility seriously. If you have people who just treating with unseriousness, this is a nation, this is a people. Listen, the census had to do with the transparency of our election, the integrity of our election. The nation had gone to war because election, or it was not transparent. We need to have this data. We need to be able to project where we're going to allocate resources. The places where they're in population group. Should we put a community college in the area based on the population group of the area? So you plan based on those data. It's a serious engagement operation of government. It's nothing to be taken lightly. The government has all the time for the implementation. I hear somebody saying the legislature never wanted the census to be rescheduled. They made a statement, and one of the legislature came here is based on the fact that if we have to change the date of the census, it will impact the voter registration, or impact so many things. Election is coming up. Let's have the census the time we always have had it. In Liberia, we had the census all the time in October. The government needed, they had all the years, they were in power. In fact, they were in opposition. They criticized all the government. They came and they never knew what to do. Incompetent, massive incompetent. And I tell the Liberian people, next year you must vote these incompetent people out of office and start embarrassing us. There's nothing but incompetent bunch of corrupt, incompetent people.
Thank you very much, Bishop Hager. And we would like to end this discussion with the Bishop speaking power, speaking truth to power. But before I leave you, those of you watching us, you can answer the final question on this segment. The census failed miserably. Where do we go from here? Does the government of Liberia redoubles her efforts to make sure that this census is held, or would you recommend that this census be postponed to sometimes next year? Leave us your comment, leave us your answer in the comment section, and of course, always continue to share the program, continue to follow us on Facebook and YouTube. And this is the Liberia Radio and Television Network. My name is Derek Yale with another episode of The Hard Zone. For now, we will take a very brief break, and when we come back, we'll talk about President Weah vacation.
Hi, my name is Martha Tombe, owner of Matisia Natural Hair Salon, located on 4405 Chestnut Street. We are specializing in locks, natural hair, braids, and etc. Call us for all your natural hair needs. You can reach out at 267-703-2330. If you have pictures or videos you want to send us, you can send it to 267-224-0693.
Welcome back, wherever you're watching us from. This is the Liberia Radio and Television Network. My name is Derek, and I'm here with another episode of your favorite talk show, The Hard Zone. And here on The Hard Zone, there's no gimmick, no fluff, just real talk. Before we get into our discussion on the president long vacation, let me welcome my panelists back on the screen, and then we can have our discussion on President Weah visit to several countries, including Morocco and France. The Executive Mansion Facebook page reported on October 31st that the president accepted an invitation from the King of Morocco for a Med Days forum. And the president that was the beginning of the president reportedly month-long vacation. And in the vein of that vacation, the president wrote a communication to the legislatures informing them that part of that vacation, he will take 9 days to watch the World Cup that will be held in Qatar this year. And the president also visited Paris, France, during this stay. So I want you for us to have a roundtable discussion on the president leaving the country, first of all, in the middle of a crisis, the census crisis, after he made a proclamation, and also on the president using taxpayer money, or allegedly, because we haven't been told as to the source of the president, how he's going to pay for the month-long vacation, using taxpayer money to go see the World Cup, and also to add to it, the finance minister again. The finance minister again stated on several media institutions in Liberia that the president has a constitutional allowance of $2,000 a day while he's away. So, guys, let's talk about the president. The president stay away from the country. Let's start with you, Bishop Hager. You close us out on the last topic, and I would like to start with you on President Weah being out of the country for a month-long vacation. Bishop Hager.
Well, thank you very much. It is important for me. President has a responsibility to travel. I mean, as a president, you have to go to other nations to solicit help, especially for impoverished nation like Liberia. However, this is a president who, since he assumed the presidency after the 2017 election, have traveled more than 27 times to different nations. The only time we did not travel was during the COVID, and there was this physical limitation. But never a time that he has spent more than 3 months in Liberia without traveling. Listen to me. It is costing Liberia money, serious money. And we have embassy in almost all the nations in the world. It is unacceptable that most of the embassies are just there. People go there, they play checker all day, they sleep, they're not doing anything. When you have an ambassador in a nation and there is a meeting, your ambassador can represent you and send the official communicate from the foreign ministry to that government. You don't need to be there. That's what irresponsible nation do around the world. Liberia is not the only nation. It is important for us to see how best we can use the limited resources that we have. A nation where people are dying from communicable disease. People don't have water to drink. People don't have anything in that nation. You be going all around, drop chopping, as though you helping the nation. What have it traveling? What kind of benefit have it brought to our nation? Nothing. I think it is unacceptable for the president to go and spend all that time using government money and bringing nothing tangible to the Liberian people. It's a disservice, very unpatriotic. It should stop. Not only for George Weah, but for any other president. We need to see how best we put our resources to the best use for our people. The people are dying. People don't have school fees for their children. Hunger in our nation. We have to be spending everything that we have here just to help the people. Then somebody going around carrying all kinds of unnecessary dedication for what? For what reason? It's unpatriotic. It must stop.
Thank you very much, Bishop Hagar. And just to the point you close with, the president, as to the total cost of the president and his delegates, the total cost of this trip, it has not been made known because the finance minister refused to give out that information. But I must also add that the e-mansion page again reported that the president of the republic, His Excellency George Manuel Weah, acknowledged with gratitude, and I'm reading this from the website, the approval of US $50 million by the government of Hungary. So that information is from the page, the Facebook page of the executive mansion. So one can say that there's benefit to the president trip. This is not my information. This is from the executive mansion page. But let me come to you, Mr. Jad Winkin. Talk to us about the president trip outside of the country. The president, just to add from on one of them social media pages, I read that this is the longest a president in the history of presidencies in Liberia, president have taken outside of the country. So talk to us about it, Mr. Jad Winkin Weah.
Well, to begin with, it is not wrong for a president to travel out of the country on behalf of his country. But what is concerning me about this trip is that to have 9 days of leisure activities, to go to watch a football game, of what benefit to the Liberian people? If to say he was going to watch a single game or maybe the final game, something like that, that makes sense because he was a football player. But to spend 9 days of leisure activity just to watch a game, does that really make sense? Does that send any seriousness to anybody? To just go to a game as though you are man on your own from your farm? It will make sense if Weah was not a president, if he were retired and just take his family to go to a game, no matter asking question. But he's responsible to a nation, which is Liberia. So even the money you just talk about, we have been hearing about money before in Liberia. But the question is, how is that money used?
Thank you, Mr. Jad Winkin Weah. And let me come to you, Blue Choppy Charlie. And I like the point Mr. Jad Winkin Weah just made. The president can travel out of the country. That's perfectly fine. But 9 days, he wrote the legislature that he will be watching the World Cup for 9 days. 9 days. That was what he said in his letter. Talk to us about that, and talk to us about the president's visit outside of Liberia. You're muted, Blue Jay.
So 9 days watching the World Cup game. Now the question that arises is that is the president watching the game on government time, on working time? I'm asking the question because I know all presidents everywhere in the world have their own time off work that they can use for other things. Even in America, the American president sometimes take a vacation, goes to Camp David or somewhere and stay for a period of time off work.
No, 9 days. Okay.
Yeah, 9 days, whatever it is.
Let protect Loj.
I'm trying to understand this. So if we can first understand whether he's using his government time, his working hour, or it is his own or time, personal time, then I think the argument can be fine. But it seems like we're saying that the president can never have a personal time. And I don't know where it is where somebody working on a job can never have his own time. Or are we trying to suggest that we want to restrict the president where he can spend his personal time? So until we can have these facts, if a president is not using his government time, he's not using the work hour, and he's using his personal time and his vacation time, then I don't see what a big deal about using a vacation time to go watch a football game or even play now full or hot score, whatever you want to do.
Let me come to you, Bobby Mitchell Crawford. Mr. Jarwingen, we are raised a point that he frowns at the president for asking for 9 days to watch the World Cup. Blow to Choppy Charlie say it could be the president's vacation or personal time, and he doesn't have a problem with that. Let me get your thoughts on that, and you can also tell us your take on the president's month-long vacation to Morocco, France, and then his involvement with the World Cup.
Thank you, Derek. As usual, I sat here just listening to all of the pontification, especially from the usual suspect, Blowjay. But it's okay. That's who he is. You always try to, be an apologist for this government, and it's a sad thing for Mama Liberia. But here's what I would say to that. Look at the composition of the dedication. Before I do that, let me just pivot to the Constitution. The last time a president, earlier you said this is the longest. The last time it happened, we were doing torment time when he was sick. He was in England. And later on, he died. 11 days. This president would be out of the country for a month. So if you say, let's just take Blowjay argument that, that they are president time. So you're going on vacation, quote unquote. You would take 50 people with you. The invitation to Morocco, I see that. It was a climate summit. Even Joe Biden was there. That invitation was honored by the Liberian government. You understand? That's okay. I'm in agreement with that. But then you left the Minister of Lands and Finance, Minister of Lands, Mines and Energy here. You took Fina Bono, your chief of staff. You took Eugene Name from Maritime. What that has to do with climate change? Look at the composition of the dedication. Those are inner circle. Sorry.
Go ahead. You protect.
Those are inner circle people, 50 people. He took with them for vacation. Just for Blowjay point that he leisure time. He got to take 50 people with them, and they're not going for free. We know for sure. And this is where the transparency part should come in. The president is traveling. And the finance minister is telling us that they cannot disclose the amount. Come on, man. What kind of government is this? The basic thing. So that secret society we're running in Liberia, and we know that on the boat when the president traveled, that $2,000 it doesn't include all of the different perks that is associated with travel expense. That's just the base allowance they're giving on a daily basis. What about other members of the delegation? You see, and we sit here, we try to justify this action. What kind of serial president? Go and Google it. In all of Africa, besides going on a medical leave, will leave their country for a whole month and say their leisure time. Our granted is a leisure time, but look what's happening back in your country. You have the saga going out of ledges. Government employees are not being paid. Your finance minister is embroiled in corrupt practices. the American government is constantly against the sanction officials. All the different noise, the house is on fire, your children are fighting. But what you're doing instead, you're away for a month. You say, I'm on my leisure time. I found that insulting.
Let me hold you right there and come back to you, Blue J Choppy Charlie. Bobby Michelle raised the issue of transparency, and I would like to add accountability. Tell us what do you think about the Minister of Finance refusal to disclose the overall budget for the president's travel? What do you think about that, Blue J?
Well, I mean, again, these things have legal implications. I don't know the law relative to the president traveling. There are other national security questions when the president travel.
We're not asking for the release security details on the president.
Yeah, but money
for crying out loud.
Money.
You said the president went on vacation. If he went on vacation, why is
$2,000? I don't know if he went on vacation. I was asking a question.
Let's protect Lord J. And guys, for the sake of time, let's keep our response under a minute, so we can ask all of the questions we need to ask. Talk to us. Transparency and accountability.
I have not seen, except maybe where the details of president's budget is public.
No, it's enshrined in 1986 Constitution.
So
$2,000 a day. You can't stop.
Yeah, that's per down.
No, he's talking about the budget.
That's per down. That was not 1986 Constitution. That was law passed by Joseph Baga United Party. $2,000. So it was not. It's not constitutional. But what I'm saying, the point here is that look, we need to gather these facts before we make these criticisms. And the question I was asking is whether the president can have a vacation time or not. If the president can have a vacation time, then maybe for political purposes, people make another argument. Was it appropriate for him to do the vacation now or not appropriate? These are questions that we can all examine.
The president said, I'm going for 9 days to watch the World Cup.
Yeah, but 9 days, that's what I'm saying. It's a vacation time. If it's a vacation time, you can use a vacation time.
Coming to you, Bishop Hagan, Mr. Jawinkin, we are coming to you. Whether the president is going for vacation or whatever it may be, why can't the Minister of Finance really to disclose the overall budget?
Like I said, we don't know. We don't know the law governing that. We don't know.
Let's go to you, Bishop Hagan, on the issue of transparency and accountability. The Minister of Finance, Samuel Toure, refused to disclose the overall budget for President Weah foreign travel. Talk to us about that, and then we'll come to you, Mr. Jawinkin Weah.
Basically, thank you very much. You are dealing with a bunch of criminals, and they've been abusing the Liberian people trust. He's afraid to disclose it because it will be scrutinized. We are not stupid anymore. And this government will be audited. These people will be held responsible, accountable for the Liberian people. That money they misusing, it is not their money. I'm here tonight to tell people, here's a man that they go around saying he's a millionaire. He has so much money. That the same argument they brought to us here when the man never had even in the 10th Street horse, he couldn't even pin it. When he became president in less than one year, he built 40-some more condominium. People can't tell me, say, oh, the man had money. He had his own money. Had his own money? He couldn't do anything. He couldn't even pin his own house. After he became president, he used the Liberian money to can't talk about he has his own money. If the man is going for vacation, it's vacation time. Why you have to take government resources? If you saw a millionaire, he gets so much money, he can take his own money, not Liberian money. We are the one paying for that trip. And it's supposed to be used. It is even an impeachable crime for you to go to set the World Cup 9 days using Liberian money as abuse of power. And it can be impeached for that.
Thank you very much, Bishop Hagan. Let's go to you, or Mr. Ja Winkin Weah. Talk to us on the issue of transparency and accountability. The Minister of Finance refused to disclose the president overall budget on his foreign travel. Talk to us about that.
Okay, thank you very much. I wanted to bring one thing to the attention of Blue Jay. Blue Jay, we are in the United States. Even if any of the president from Obama, Trump, to even go to a golf game, to leave to leave the White House. If Biden even go to Wilmington where he lives, to spend even 2 weekends, it's a problem in America. You know it. They have to be at the White House. But in terms of, so Eugene number, maritime, they don't control the money. Nobody knows how much they're making from maritime. They not even tell us how much we are generating from maritime. He went with maritime that get a lot of money. The Commission on Maritime to be part of the delegation to do what there? The point is, as I said earlier, it is not wrong for any president to travel out of the country. But as the bishop said, because the Liberian people are so lenient, Liberian people are so submissive to their leaders, and they are abusing that, they're using their power as seeming gods to see the Liberian people worshiping them. They do whatever they want to do. But we need to understand that to be a president, it means you are willing to serve. If you say vote for me, you are saying please hire me to vote for you. Please hire me to work for you instead. You can't be president and become king at the same time. He's not a king. It's not a kingdom. The resources are for Liberian people. So to even go with 50 people just to travel, how many people Joe Biden went with here? How many days Joe Biden spent to that conference? Joe Biden went to so many conferences a few days ago. He came back. Even if anything happened, any good president will come right back instead of sitting outside the country to fire people back here. Because he knows the international community has interest with our census. He should have come back. So really, because of the Liberian people are so lenient, Weah thinks whatever he does is right. He is the head of the government, so he takes the blame. So they are not accountable to the Liberian people, but as the bishop said, hopefully there will be accountability one day when there is a new government to audit all those guys that are in power right now, misusing the money of the Liberian people. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Ja Winkin Weah. And just to close out on this subject, I think, can we get back? Just to close out on this subject, I think it's very important that not just President Weah, but any president for that matter in Liberia to disclose their budget, because that budget, the money in it is the money for the Liberian people, and it is their right to know how you're spending their money. But that's it for this.
Eric, just 10 seconds, please.
Go ahead,
I just wanted to look at the composition of the dedication. Pepsi Yeke, that's my boy, right here from Dallas. Apartment complex just a few blocks away from me. This is somebody that I know. He and his wife are part of that dedication. He's the head of list. So President Weah going on leisure time with extended family members. I just wanted to put that out there.
It's really crazy for real.
Yeah, but thank you guys so much for your contribution on this segment of the Horizon. And we will, at this point, take a very brief break. And when we come back, we will get into our icebreaker segment for this show. But again, guys, continue to participate in the program in the comment section and continue to share the show on and continue to follow the network on Facebook and YouTube. We will see you after the break.
At Fatu's, we know what it's like to feel a little homesick. That's why we work hard to bring you the very best and freshest imported foods and supplies from home. With quality design African cloths, beauty supplies, and tasty African food items, you'll feel right at home. So what are you waiting for? Stop by Fatu's African International Market for all of your household and family needs. See you soon.
Welcome back, wherever you're watching us from. My name is Derek Yale, and this is the Liberia Radio and Television Network, bringing you another episode, a new season of the Horizon. And as I promised you in the beginning of this show, first of all, let me get my panelists back on the screen. And as I promised you in the beginning of the show, we have listened to your feedbacks. We have made some adjustment to the show, and one of those adjustments is a special segment that we will be featuring on season 2 of the Hard Zone. And this segment is hustling on the Hard Zone. Before I start showing you clips of what this is, let me just make this general announcement. If you or someone, or you know of someone that is doing something that they would like for people to know about or see, contact us. You can leave us your information in the comment, or you can contact the network on Facebook or on YouTube. But for now, just watch this clip about what hustling in the Hard Zone will be about. Now, welcome back. We will, at this point, like to get back into our unsure what's the icebreaker round on the Hard Zone. I know all of us here at some point in time, like, bro, we got accustomed to eating something we call street food. Whatever street you live on, like, bro, whether it's Weah Avenue, somewhere down that street, somebody's selling something. So the icebreaker round, we're talking about your favorite street food or snack in Liberia. Get sour milk, they get pepper, they get that nice biscuit, they get all those. You know it. So let me go around asking you guys about your favorite street food in Liberia. Bishop Hika, talk to us about your favorite street food in Liberia.
Roasted plantain with peanut. Roasted plantain with peanut. The reason why I used to like it is because after you eat one roasted plantain with peanut, you have that desire to drink a lot of water. And during those days, we were operating on 001. No bread fries, no lunch. So you gotta wait until the evening when the old man come and finish cooking that food at 7 o'clock. You're eating, you lock up and you go to bed. So when you get a little 25 cents, you buy a plantain, you buy a little grumpy, you drink plenty of water, your stomach filled for the whole day. I miss the roasted plantain and peanut.
Roasted plantain and peanut. That's the Bishop's favorite street food. And of course, leave us your favorite street food in the comment section. We'd love to know about it. And this is what the icebreaker round is about. Let's go to you, Bobby Mitchell Crawford, your favorite street food from Liberia.
Well, I'll do two.
Go ahead, bro. That's fine. Go ahead.
When I was little, I used to be greedy. The food was never enough for me. So there was a lady across the street from my daddy's house. She used to sell cassava gravy with P4. So I still remember her name, but I ain't gonna call it on the show. So I used to like that cassava gravy with P4. You carry 50 cents, 40 cent cassava, and then your 10 cent P4, you straight. You know, I eat that one, I just go and blow on the side. But as I grew older, you know, at the time I was working at the American Embassy, I used to love the roasted fish, the red snapper with pepper and peanut. You can't go wrong on that roasted fish, the red snapper with pepper and peanut.
I know exactly what you're talking about, Mr. Crawford.
Yeah.
So let's come to you, Mr. John Winkin. We are your favorite street food from Liberia.
I used to like the kelewele.
Oh, yes. I forgot that one. With a little ginger.
Yeah, kelewele ginger, yes.
That's it. Let's go to you, Blow the Choppy Charlie.
Yeah, my man, that's a tough one. That's a tough one.
Before you say anything, you sound like somebody like into very street food.
No, not really. But you know, I mean, the recess food, mainly which is a common color,
Correct.
Yeah.
Come on, Bro J.
Yeah, but so that was a good one. But recently, I think I begin to when I go Liberia at night. There's recently I begin to like eat what I think coconut and the cassava, the raw cassava. Yeah, that's good.
The roasted or the raw one?
The
raw
coconut
one,
raw is
huh?
yeah, they put in that little,
My man.
yeah, put in that
Yeah.
little plastic. What?
The plastic, yeah, you want that thing correctly, my man.
Put in that little plastic. You all right?
Coconut,
I'm sorry.
raw cassava. It's good.
Blood, you get some chemical composition. You trying to boost up something.
No, it's just
I know why
You trying to
you
boost up something. That's okay.
This is a
No,
different show.
no.
Let me know. This is
Listen.
a different show, Bishop. Let us
Listen,
that.
that
nice,
one.
that's all. It's just
That one
nice.
good they're talking about that raw cassava and coconut. If you eat it, you ain't got time for the Lay's chips, the guy right? That cheetah popcorn chips. Nobody got time
Yeah,
for
all
that.
this something
You know what I mean?
exactly.
That's the real snack.
But then when
Yeah.
you walk in, we should do the Buffalo brand cocododos.
Oh yeah.
well, I have my favorite street food. I mean, my first feast in the morning growing up is curry yogurt. I think all the
Damn it.
yeah. You know, yeah.
It's a good
Yeah.
all right.
No,
Yeah, the red oil,
did you really like it or you had no choice? They say, why did Jack refuse the sample?
Well. I took the having no choice in the positive right. I started liking it.
What's about the money kind of
Yeah, that was the first phase food, but then
And then became popular. You got Gary.
the one I want to make my favorite tonight. The one I want to make my favorite is this lady used to make like she will have the meat. It was still long, but she will make Weah gravy out of it and sell it. The name for it that stink but sweet. Yeah, yeah. The thing is, it's not meatball, but it's like chicken like, but you know it's still long. You know they won't throw it away. She was
It's there that many guys can sell in our cart.
I'm telling you, you have to hold your nose and put that thing in your mouth, but trust me when you get in your mouth.
Is that Momoya?
It's not. Mama smell good. The thing I tell you,
You didn't get diarrhea, my man.
don't worry about the diarrhea with your flatty. But yeah, that was my favorite food from Liberia.
What's about the money kind of man?
That's another
Morning
one.
Kalama is good.
Morning Kalama.
Yeah.
Yep. You seem to see Messi selling morning Kalama every month. Get it? The child never Messi just passing around selling morning Kalama. But it's been nice. It's been nice. It's that's what the icebreaker round is about. To take our mind off of the serious conversation we're having again. Thank you guys for your contribution. Let's take a break and when we come back, we'll close out on this segment of the hands-on.
Hi, my name is Theophilus Judokon Nelson I. I am the founder and CEO of Lrtn Africa LLC. Lrtn Africa started as an employment agency that has sought the employment of immigrants coming to the U.S. and finding ways and means to be able to start life in this great country. Now we have added airport pickups and drop, car rental, hall rental. As you see, we have a new business location. Started with just a little office part, but today we have a whole complex that we can do a lot of stuff with.
Hello everyone, my name is Geneva Krantz. I'm the Executive Administrator of Lrtn Africa. We have an excellent employment rate at our company. We work with and for you regardless of your situation. If you've ever been in prison, maybe your background isn't great, do not worry. We have a place for you here. We believe in equal opportunity for everyone, especially you. So sign up today and begin earning.
My name is Emmanuel B. Horton, Operational Director for Lrtn Africa. Lrtn Africa is the place to be.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, and let me take this time to say thank you so much for staying with us. And I would like to encourage you to continue to follow the network, engage the program, and you can find us on Facebook at LRTN Live and also on YouTube, LRTN. Let me get my panelists back on the set, and then I'll make these announcements, and then we can close out on tonight's episode of the Horizon. The Multicultural Community Family Services is inviting you and the general public to Calabash Pantry every first and third Tuesday at 12 noon, between 12 noon and 4 p.m. and at room 26A, 7016 Terminal Square, Upper Darby, PA. That is the Multicultural Community Family Services, inviting the public to a Calabash Pantry. And also we have the AFRICOM hosting or Achieve Ability Thanksgiving Drive. And it's their first come, first serve. So you better go there. You better be early when you go in there. Bring a card for your frozen turkey, non-perishable sides. And the date for that is November 17, 2022, between the hours of 3 p.m. and 6 p.m. And the address is 5901 Market Street, Philadelphia, PA. Zip code is 19139. And you can find this information on the LRTN Facebook page as well. And last, Twazamin Leadership School would like to inform you of the presenting of E3 Excellence, Ethics, and Empathy Conference. The LRTN will be there covering this program. We'll have a lot of great speakers. And the date for that is November 25th, 2022, 7 p.m. Eastern Time, New Jersey. And the address is the Caron Hotel on 76 Industrial Highway, Essington, PA. That is the Twazama Leadership School with the E3 Excellence, Ethics, and Empathy Conference. That's it for our announcement section. That is the segment, The Happenings. And I'd like to get back to you guys for us to close out on this program. We begin our conversation tonight talking about, we talk about the census, we talk about the president visit, and we also the first topic we talk about the U.S. ambassador warning to those doing business with sanctions government officials. Guys, I would like to say you guys, your contribution on this episode and all of the previous episodes from season 1 have always been like very interesting, and I'm very sure the audience appreciate all of you guys. And at this point, I would like to start with my man, Bobby Mitchell Crawford, to give us your final words on this episode, and then we'll go from you to Ja Winkin. Bobby Mitchell Crawford, I'm sorry.
You always mention the name.
Always.
Nemesis, man. You know me, the man can't get along.
I'm telling you, I have to get that right. You know what I mean?
I love my boy, Blowjet, I'm a man. We go way back. Now I'm just kidding. But on a serious note, though, one of the things, I am a nationalist at my very core. One of the things that I do, I go to the Ministry of Public Works website. I look at roads network, some of the roads are working on. I love seeing those things. Oh, yeah, they got a little aspect road in the area here. In the vision, the day that will come where all of Liberia will be connected with roads. I mean, the Rafi Highway, when that road is completed, it's going to be a good thing for Liberia. I'm just hoping that will be completed on time. Those are some of the things I love about Liberia, besides all the politics. I see, anytime I see people post pictures about Liberia, something good, a beautiful building. If I go on YouTube, I see those videos about Liberia. I watch those things. They bring pride to me. I love it. I want to see Liberia win. So those are things that I do in my spare time. I really love doing those things. And I hope that some of my fantasy will come to reality one day. We'll have that Liberia that we all deserve.
Thank you very much, Bobby Mitchell Crawford. Let's go to you, Mr. Ja Winkin. Weah, give us your closing remark on this episode.
Okay, my closing remarks. Okay, my fellow Liberians, we should all recognize that the country is for all of us. Whether you are in the government or you are on your own, whatever you do, put Liberia first. Government alone is not the answer for everything. Even those who reside in the United States or elsewhere are not the only solution. Do what you can do. You can do for yourself first before you can ask for help. That is being patriotic. Make sure to think about what you can do to uplift Liberia. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Brother Choppy Charlie. Give us your closing remark.
Well, once again, good to begin this second season of the High Zone in a very spirited manner. And as we continue this journey, we want to continue to encourage all of us, all of our people, that good governance demand all of us acting together in concert to improve the country. The opposition in Liberia has a key role to play in governance. It's not just condemning and criticizing. And we hope to have a competitive elections in the country. We want to see a strong opposition because that makes the country better. But so far, the opposition has been very weak, only relying on manna from heaven or the force of the United States or upon the government to bring them to power. And that's not going to happen. Democracy is majority rule, persuading the people to believe in you. So we look forward to another edition of the House. Thanks.
Thank you very much. And Bishop Hagar, let me do you the honor to draw the curtain on this episode. Give us your closing remark.
I thank God of my colleagues. Liberia belongs to every one of us. We want the best for Liberia. I would want to just close with this remark, especially when it comes to the government. We have administration and we have government. Government will remain, administration will go. We cannot politicize everything. Religion is not a political institution. It is a professional institution. I was in Ivory Coast for many years. They have institution, whether PDC in power or FP in power, it doesn't matter. They have a roadmap for the development of that country, and the politicians do not interfere with those professional people, those technocrats. I hope that this embarrassment about this censor will make every one of us, legislature, executive, political party, every one of us to build institutions. Religion should be run by professional people. It should not be political appointee. People who understand statistics, those who understand how to do it, need to run that organization, institution with no interference from whosoever. And I pray that we can pick up the pieces and make the censor work, because with a good censor, we will know how our political dispensation will be in 2023. I thank God that we can discover the problem right now and we can fix it. And next year we can have a wonderful election, transparent election. Nobody will complain about the result. Thank you, and may God bless Liberia in Jesus.
Thank you very much, Bishop Hagar. Thank you very much, Brother Michelle Crawford. Thank you very much, Mr. Ja Winkin Weah. And thank you very much, Brother Choppy Charlie. And this is how we would like to bring this episode to an end. But before doing that, let me say thank you to those of you watching us, to those of you that share this program, those of you that continue to engage this program. And I will speak on behalf of the network when I say this. We are committed to bringing you good material on the horizon, and we will stay true to our slogan: no gimmick, no fluff, just real talk. We will educate you, we will inspire you to always put Liberia first, because it's Liberia that will always be first. And I would like to draw this episode to an end. We will see you next Thursday. Thank you.